Husband's very happy. Okay. Important.
Welcome back. My name is Ashley, and this is Black Sheep Christian Podcast. Today, I have Richard Tierney, and we are talking about mental health and dealing with past trauma. He is an author of an approved AA book, which is according to him, which is a very profound accolade to have as far as what he deals in this field. So we have an expert here. How to heal past trauma and trauma recovery in 12 steps. Richard, thank you for joining me today.
Actually, thank you for the warm, beautiful welcome. I'm really excited about being here. I love your title, Black Sheep. It's really cool. I think we've all felt we were actually at some stage in our lives,
Yes.
especially around spirituality with churches. I lost my way very early on. I'm a raised Roman Catholic in Ireland, and I just became disillusioned with that faith, all the rules and regulations. And I remember in my early days of addiction, someone who I cared about deeply, a very good friend of mine in recovery, committed suicide. And his mother, who was a devout Catholic, wasn't allowed to bring his body to the church or have it in the cemetery because he committed suicide. It was a sin, and he wasn't allowed to be buried to have the service in the church or to be buried in the cemetery. And it destroyed the mother. She was a devout Christian who went to church every single day, every morning, and made every single Lent, you name it, whatever was involved, stations of the cross, she did everything. And suddenly her only son took his life, and she couldn't have him brought to the family church or to the family plot in the cemetery because she committed suicide. Those kind of things really threw me about this thing about being a Christian, just really knocked me sideways. And then I went to live abroad. I did the geographical change when people talk about when you can't live with yourself and you really can't live around your family. You take the geographical and you move away. So I moved to Thailand, 7,000 miles away from my home country of Ireland to live. And I don't even think I went to live. I think I went to just kind of die in the middle of nowhere or something, or disappear or whatever. And it was there I found my faith. I tried a Jesuit church first, and again it's very much Catholic, and it didn't work for me. I tried a Baptist church, and that was too die hard, like in your face. If you're not a Baptist, you're going to go to hell kind of thing, and that was just really too strong. And then I tried a Protestant church and a Presbyterian church and an Anglican church, and I kept going back to this Protestant minister who was talking about just know Jesus and just embrace Christ and live your life. And if you never go to a church or a denomination in your lifetime, but you become a Christ follower, then you're on the right path. And that really resonated with me. I really felt it really was. So he spent a year and a half teaching me about Jesus and Christ, which was the most beautiful thing for a man to do. Take me for breakfast each morning. We'd have breakfast. Now, he wouldn't take me, we'd pay our own way, but for an hour and a half each morning, he'd teach me about Jesus and Christ. And it was just a wonderful experience for me as a young father trying to find my way, and I found my way. It was gorgeous. So anyway, during all this time, I had developed a lot of addictions because I suffered a trauma as a 12-year-old child. I was filled with loads of shame and self-loathing. I thought I must have caused this to happen. I must have given some signal to this person or attracted this person to me, or it was my fault. And so I was full of self-harm and self-abuse and self-hatred and so on, because I developed addictions trying to run away from me. I was really trying to heal what we call the hole in our soul. I had this hole in my soul, and nothing would fill it. Nothing would heal it. Much food or sugar or sex or porn or codependency or hatred, nothing would heal this hole in my soul. It was eating away at me. On the outside, you look at me and you think I was a happy-go-lucky guy, but inside I've got this hole in my soul eating away at me. And we all know this feeling when we've got a deep secret that eats away our soul and robs us of the will to live and the will to be a part of. No one sees it. They all think, oh, Ashley's a really cool, normal person, but actually inside it's eating away at her. And same with myself and everybody else that suffers these things. And so the 12-step program of AA is wonderful. It's a program of people taking stock of their situation, realizing that the book starts with us, that my whole life is through my perceptions of life. It's not what you're doing to me or what my parents are doing to me or what happened in the past. It's my perceptions, my outlook, my attitude about what happened to me or what's happened to me. That's how I relate to life. So it's not matter what you're doing to me, actually, right now. It doesn't care what you're doing to me. It's my perception of what you're doing to me is the problem. So I have to look at myself. And that's all these 12-step programs, they're wonderful. They get you to stop blaming everybody else, stop finding fault with everybody else, and look at yourself. It's a really cool concept to life, is to take stock of you and where you are in your life. And so I did that 12-step program in two different formats. Thank God I had 2 different editions. Now sometimes I wish I had 10 or 12 different editions, so I could have done 10 or 12 different formats of the same program, And so you end up, they suggest you have one sponsor for your lifetime, but I felt it was better to have 15 different sponsors with 15 different ways of doing it, to have 15 different kinds of perspectives of the same program. You'd have much better attitudes, perspective of life, and that had worked very well for me. But out of that, I knew I had to do something about this hole in my soul. I had to do something to heal the hole in my soul, and so that put me on a path of finding a solution. I don't want to hug up all the conversation, so I'm going to leave you an occasionally, Ashley, to if you want to jump in there. I'll
No,
pause for.
no. I'm just writing a little nugget that you like that you said hole in my soul. And I think that's really a profound statement that anybody um can relate to. And the story of just going to church, especially with the story of someone committing suicide, going to the church and not finding comfort within the walls that are supposed to, what we read, supposed to be a place of comforting. The fact that you had to travel thousands of miles in order, I mean, it's the same God, but you didn't find it in the church. You went thousands of miles to find that.
Yeah, it's very sad. I love being a Christ follower, but really frustrates me that when you think of every other religion, they've got one book, like the Quran, they've got the Gita for the Hindu or whatever, the Buddhist. They've got one book, one religion. We, for some reason, we have the right God, the right Son of God, the right Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and yet we can have 45,000 different churches and denominations. How is anyone meant to know the right path? So if I become a Protestant and I go on the Protestant and I'm at the gates and St. Peter says, sorry, wrong denomination, you're out. Like, I mean, it just seems so. How can we be so pedantic or stupid that we would have 45,000 different churches and denominations to confuse sinners? Let's say sinners. If you're in a church and you've grown up in a church and your family are all church going, you've led that way from the day you were born, then you're really in there already. It's like when Jesus sat for dinner with the tax collectors and the Pharisees said, what are you doing sitting with them? And they said, they're the ones that need to be saved, not the ones that are in the church already, it's the ones that aren't. And for all those who are outside the church, those who are lost, and I was lost for many years, how am I meant to choose the right church or the right denomination? If the message is, you have to be Catholic, you have to do it this way, Protestant is this way, Anglican is this way, Baptist is this way. And they've all these rules, man-made rules, that imposed in upon it that you have to do it this way. How do we find, and we're meant to believe in the same God who created everything, who created just 2 genders, created everything in 7 days. He chose Jesus as his son, and he died on the cross for our salvation. And then he left the Holy Spirit behind. And when we embrace the Holy Spirit, I go from being Richard Tierney, the son of Dick and Peggy Tierney, to Richard Tierney, the son of God, Richard Tierney, the Christ, Richard Tierney, a sibling of Jesus. And I get to act and live as though I was Christ and try and do as Christ would do to the best of my abilities, not being Jesus who's blessed with all of Christ's power. I'm just striving to be the best Christ I can be. So what I need to do is, when I look at you, Ashley, I see Christ in you. When I look at my Thai Buddhist wife, I see Christ in my Thai Buddhist wife, even though she's not a Christian. I must see Christ in my wife and my mother-in-law and all my in-laws. They're all Buddhists. And they had this problem in Thailand here where the early Christians they met were these die-hard missionaries who were like this big Bible thumping, you're all going to die, trying to force the Bible down their throat. And they turned against it. And they've no desire to become one of us, So it's a case of I have to see Christ in every person I meet, just automatically. From my perspective, if I look at you, Ashley, or if you weren't a Christian, I would say, I see Christ in you, Ashley, in my mind. And then I have to treat you differently because I see Christ in you. So I can't judge you or ridicule you or tease you or belligerent towards you because I see Christ in you, and then being belligerent towards Christ. So the goal is that we all choose Christ and then see Christ in the other person. And if that's the cream of my ability to witness or to be a Christian, is to see Christ in the other person, my attitude is going to change. I'm not going to go to war against Ashley because I see Christ in Ashley. I'm not going to get war against the English or the Canadians or the Americans or the Australians because I see Christ in the other person. And if we can learn to see Christ in the other person, and even just that alone, if we could do that in this world, the world would be a better place. We wouldn't have all this racism and bigotry and people living on the streets because they're less than us, or the color of skin, or their religion, or their whatever. We just be equal because and we can really be equal. They'd be better than us because we see Christ in them. You know? And that's the idea behind a lot of this. I felt the 12-step program allows you to choose your own concept of God. The AA program and all the other programs allow you to choose your own concept of God. But I felt, for me, that was a kind of a catch-22. If I get to choose my own concept of God, that means I'm in control. And if I'm going to do anything in this world, I've got to not be in control. I need someone to direct me. So God in heavens, Christ within me, and the salvation of Jesus. I need to have some powers outside of me that I have to go to and say, is this okay? And then it says, no, okay, but I can't do that. You know, or how do I live my life, Lord? Tell me how to live my life. Meditate on that, and suddenly have this spiritual awakening kind of going, okay, I'll try that. And do the opposite of what I want to do, because I'm tied to this fallen world. I'm a human being, selfish, self-centered in my very nature, and a victim. So that's my nature. So I'm a victim. Poor me, no one likes me, no one loves me, no one cares about me, it's not fair, blah, blah. And then being selfish, self-centered. And I think I'm better than everybody else and less than everybody else at the same time. So you put that mixture together, and I can't be trusted to be in charge of the show. Whether I'm me here with you, or I'm the president of America, president of England, the president of Ireland, the president of wherever, I can't be trusted to be in the show unless I have what we call God is the what's he called? The chief in charge, like the head honcho. Unless he's telling us what to do. If I'm left to my devices, I'm going to be selfish and self-centered in making my decisions. So I want the best for me and mine. If the best for me and mine isn't the best for you, then I'm very sorry for you. But I'm looking after me and mine. So if I'm Irish, I'm looking after the Irish first over the English. If I'm American, looking after the Americans over the Chinese, or over the Canadians, or over whatever. That's our nature of who we are, belonging to a tribe. So for me, I've got to find a way of incorporating the power of God into this 12-step program. Okay, but I better take a breather and give you a chance to say something and me to catch up my breath.
No, you get a lot of nuggets. Let's talk about your book with the 12-step program, because you have How to Heal Past Trauma, and then you have your trauma recovery. Trauma happens to a lot of us in some shape or form in our lives. Some is early childhood, some is early adult, So there's some sort of trauma that we all can agree that we experience, but it's not about the trauma. It's about how we get through the trauma that really separates us.
Well, the thing is, we've been conditioned to believe that what happened in the past is ours to process today. All of society, all mental health, every single thing tells us that whatever happened in the past is ours to process today. And this is the big lie. Okay, and science tells us, I've mentioned before, it's all about cause and effect. Whatever happened in your past is the cause, and however it manifests in your present is the effect. So if you had a past trauma memory, let's say you were a veteran of a war, and you have a memory of a past trauma event that causes you nightmares, flashbacks, triggers, affects your thinking, your feeling. You have yourself what we call stinking thinking and faulty feeling. You push everything away, you're angry all the time. These are the effects. They're not the cause, they're the effects. Your mental disorder, your diagnosis, is the effect, not the problem. They're how the problem manifests in your life. But the whole world would have us treating the effect, the mental disorder, as the problem. And we haven't. If you go through the numbers, I was shocked recently. I saw this, like, I know hundreds of thousands of people diagnosed with PTSD, hundreds of thousands of people diagnosed with depression, hundreds of thousands of people. That's not the problem. That's the effect. The problem is the cause of what happened in the past. So we have to find a way of getting rid of what's happened in the past. And the truth is, what happened in the past didn't happen to the you or I of today. My life exists in these 24 hours only. And the beautiful thing of having God in your life is, at night time when I go to bed, I give God my whole day. And so how do I do it? For your listeners, I get down on my knees by the bed. I hold my hands up like I'm holding a cross. And I say, Lord God, I've carried this cross since the day I was born. And like your son Jesus, I've faltered more than once. I've got all my pains, anger, resentments on this cross from the day I was born. All the abuse I went through, all the trauma, all the rejections and abandonments, all the betrayals, the troubles in workplaces and difficult bosses and colleagues and stuff. All that stuff plays in my mind and keeps me from sleeping. And I can't do it anymore. You take this cross off me for 8 hours. And I imagine seeing a host of angels coming up and taking this cross off me. I want to feel that sensation. I drop the hand onto the lap, I go into the bathroom, wash my face, brush my teeth, get back into bed, put my head in the pillow, put a smile on my face, close my eyes. I end up falling into an 8 hour sleep where I have no nightmares, no flashbacks, no triggers. All the thoughts are gone. So I've given them to God. So I get this peace for 8 hours. And then when I wake up in the morning, I back down on my knees and I say, okay, God, I'm ready to take my cross back. And I hear this voice from the heavens saying, my beautiful beloved son, Richard, I've taken your old cross from you and you're not getting it back. I'm giving you a new cross for the next 16 hours. Everything of your past I've taken from you, and all your fears and doubts of the future I've taken from you as well. You only have these 16 hours, 8 hours of work and 8 hours of play to contend with for all of your life. You may not wake up tomorrow. You've only got these 16 hours in front of you. I want you to focus on these 16 hours only. Practice self-restraint of pen, tongue, and deed. Don't try and fix and save anybody. If someone asks you for help and you can help without being codependent or people-pleasing, help. Otherwise, say no and do your job. Give 100% today, and you only have 30% to give. Give me 100% of 30%. But just give me today what you can give me today. And at the end of the day, come back and give me this cross back and we start all over again. And the beauty of having God in your life and believing in God is you know that you've given him your cross and he's taken it from you and he says he's keeping it. I only have 16 hours to deal with. So today, 16 hours for me today was I got up this morning and brought the dog for a walk, dropped my children into the water festival here over in Thailand, dropped my children into experience the water festival this morning, went shopping with my wife, which I do a lot of pushing trolleys and chauffeuring when you go shopping, and that's just my job. Today is chauffeuring and doing pushing a trolley and paying the bill and then coming home. And then I had a little nap and I put the dog for a walk again. I did some of my work and I got prepared for meeting you, Ashley. And now I'm here with you this evening. It's 8:21 p.m. here and I go to bed at 10 p.m. And being 8:21, it means it's after 8 o'clock. So I only have 2 hours of my day left. I have from 8 p.m. now to 10 p.m. All of my past is gone. I only have this 2 hours now. At 10 p.m. I'll be asleep, so I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I only have to deal with 2 hours, not 64 years and this 24 hours today. I only have these 2 hours only. And the first of these 2 hours is the last 20 minutes being with you. And it's been a joy. And I could do this all night long. I could stay with you for the next 2 hours and tell my wife I'm not going to bed. So it's like, but that's where my life is. And what you have to learn is that our existence is in the present. God's name is I am. He tells Moses in the Old Testament, I am that I am. And that you are, we still know that I am God. And you are made of the image of God. And we are filled with the Holy Spirit each day. So we are Christ. We are an extension of God. So we have to live in the present. The only person who can be in the past and the future is God. He's saying in the past, in the beginning, was it? In the past, in the present, and the future, God is all one. We can only be in reality, in existence, in the I am right now, in these 24 hours. And then each hour that goes out of our day, it's 23 hours, 22. So for me, I got up at 6 o'clock this morning, I go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. I have 2 hours left to my life. That's it. Not what happened in the last 64 years, what's going to happen in the next 20 years. I only have these 2 hours. And we have to find a way of getting into just these 2 hours. So the first part of this 12-step program is called How to Heal Any Past Trauma Memory. And we do so by giving it back to our younger self. So I'll give you an idea. So actually, I'm looking at you, and I'm probably going to get your age wrong. I think you're about probably 45. I'm probably way out in this, or say 42 to be on the safe side. So let's say you're 42 years of age, okay, and you're going through some really horrible trauma in your life today. But you're committed to going through this so that an older version of you in, say, 20 years' time won't have to deal with it, okay? So it could be a partner, an ex-partner, it could be a job. Really horrible stuff, but you're suffering this and you're getting through it. And finally, you suffer, you endure, and you survive it. And you defeat it, and you come out the far side. And it's like wonderful. And it's like it made you stronger, the experience of that. And you're a stronger person for it. Now you're able to be there for your partner and children, whatever you have in your life. And it's wonderful and joyous. And you can do this podcast and everything's great. And then lo and behold, you're looking into the future and you see an older version of you, say about 20 years time. Some older version of you is maybe 65 years of age, going into the attic of their mind and pulling out a chest from the corner and opening up this chest. And inside there's a cloak. They take this cloak out of the chest, and the cloak is all of your trauma you've just gone through. And they put this cloak on their back, and they button this up and zip it up, and then they go around telling everybody what happened to you 20 years ago happened to them. How would that make you feel?
Wow. Obviously, how would that make me feel? That's a really
They're
good
robbing your truth and telling everybody it happened to them.
As a person, it's funny because it depends on the reason why I hesitate is because in my old stage of life, it was I would have felt like some type of embarrassment. In my new stage of life, it's kind of like I don't care anymore.
Oh, for me, I was pissed. I was kind of going, I sacrificed so much to be free to have a life beyond my wildest dreams. And you're choosing to go back into my past and take my pain and tell me it happened to you. It's got nothing to do with you. It's like
Yeah.
it happened to me and I suffered it. I went through whatever it was, a year, 2 years of harrowing. So the 12-year-old child, I remember having the conversation with my 12-year-old self. And he used a lot of colorful language. And I'm fearful. My wife said, I shouldn't use colorful language. Just say colorful language to you rather than using bad language on your podcast. But he was all F and you name it. He's saying, like, what the F do you think you're effing doing? Taking my crap and bringing it into your present and living it like it happened to you. I can't cross over into the light, into the mansion preferred for me in my father's mansion until I have all my baggage, and you're blocking me from crossing over. And the only one you're doing anything for is my abusers. You're giving them life in your future. You're worshiping them. You're honoring them. You're praising them. You're revering them. How is that helping me? You're blocking me. So I had this two-way conversation where I felt this small. I had my younger self saying to me, "How dare you take my and to reject my life today? I've got a beautiful wife, two wonderful teenage children. I call them children. They're in university now. They both got into university from homeschooling, and my mother-in-law is a godsend. And I've got great fans, and I'm choosing to ignore all of this I have in my life today to fixate on something that didn't happen to me. It happened to a 12-year-old child 50 years ago until it happened to me. So my younger self didn't hold back with his colorful language. And he really told me to just give him back his SHIT, give him back all of his. So this is a 12-year-old child using colorful language to me in this visualization. He's saying to me, give me back all of my SHIT. I mean, what do you think you're doing? And it was the most breathtakingly wonderful experience for me to finally realize I'd made a mistake. I had betrayed my younger self, and I was self-sabotaging my life and betraying him by taking his baggage into my present. And then he couldn't cross over into the light, which is all we want for our loved ones is when they die, they get to go to heaven and be with Jesus and be in that safe place where there's no harm or hurt. And to think that us taking their past into the present and giving life to a dead thing is okay. When we give life to a dead thing and bring it into our present, the death and decay of the dead thing destroys everything it touches. All my relationships are being destroyed, all my intimacies are being destroyed. I had to find a way of giving it back. So this healing event called How to Heal Any Past Trauma Memory is a visualization practice where you actually give the events back to your younger self. Now, I want to clarify this. We're not giving the memory back. We're meant to have all our memories, but the details in the baggage are none of our business. It didn't happen to the 64-year-old man. It happened to a 12-year-old child. So the very first part of this program is you get an A4 sheet of paper. You draw a line down the middle. On one side, I write down 64-year-old Richard, and I might have a picture of 64-year-old Richard, and then underneath that, I live in Thailand, my wife is Bo, I have two children, everything about me living today. And then the other side of the line, I put down 12-year-old Richie, lives with his parents, has 5 siblings, lives in his family home in Ireland, and put all his information on the other side. And then I can clearly see, when I look at both these pages, they're not the same person. They have 2 different lives completely. So for me here in 2025, saying what happened in 2082 happened to me, or is happening to me, is totally wrong. It's a lie. We can't, there's no therapist out there who can fix you or fix me. I can't fix you, Ashley. I can't fix any of my clients. But I can teach you how to claim your miracle promise in the Bible of casting out your demons, of letting go of the past. The Bible says to us, we're meant to focus only on the here and now and the I am. We let the dead bury the dead. That's what the Bible tells us, let the dead bury the dead. And if your younger self wants to leave this plane of existence and deserves to leave this plane of existence, who are we to hold them back and to worship their abusers? So we have to let our younger self go. So the first part of this program is called How to Heal Any Past Trauma Memory. It's available on the Amazon platform exclusively. And it takes about 2 hours to realize the error of our ways and to experience the visualization of giving the past back. And we have to give it back to somebody. We can't just pretend it didn't happen and bury our heads in the sand and go on. People have tried that, doesn't work, and you can easily see why. We actually have to like, as though we're actually taking all this baggage from our body and holding our soul, and the stress on our shoulders, like the weight of the world on our shoulders, and the elephant on our chest, like it's weighing us down, we can't breathe. It's like all that energy, that black energy is blocking our spirit, and say, okay, younger self, here's your crap back. I'm very sorry for taking it off you. I'm giving it back to you. And he kind of goes, thank goodness, I've been waiting for 50 years for you to give me back to me. And then we go to visualize and see them taking it off us, giving it to angels, they take it into the light. And when I feel like it's all gone, I see him stepping into the light. In that moment, it's gone. And that moment, I have the memory of what happened to my younger self, but not the details. So if my therapist asks me, how does that make you feel? I kind of go, well, no, it just didn't happen to me. Like, it's not my stuff. It doesn't matter how I feel. I feel sorry for my younger self. Yeah, he had a horrible time, but he's gone. My life right now is living in the present with my wife and my children. And I need you to teach me healthy boundaries and how to respect people and love people. And if you hand to that for me, I'll get some other therapist. But talking about the past, it's none of my business anymore. I let it go. I've released it. And so we take on the 12-step program of trauma recovery numbers, which is the 12 steps designed to cleanse the carnage and mayhem caused by the mental disorder that we have. So whether it's PTSD or depression or anxiety or schizophrenia, we use these 12 steps to break away, because with the cause gone, there's no longer any rhyme or reason for the mental disorder to be in our lives. Mental disorder was born out of the manifestations of the core event. Where we're giving the core event away, there's no longer any reason for us to have the effects. The nightmares disappear, the flashbacks disappear, the angry moods and thinking disappear. And now it's just a learned behavior we have to unlearn. And this 12-step program teaches us to, like an AA, we're the problem, we have to change it. So in the 12 steps, the first 3 steps, which are really the foundation stones, are: 1, we're not a victim. Whatever happened in the past didn't happen to you or I. When I was molested as a child, he didn't wake up that morning and say, I'm going to molest Richard Tierney. This abuser happened to just choose to molest somebody, and I happened to be not in the wrong place at the wrong time. Just our paths crossed, but I wasn't his target. I wasn't his chosen victim. It just so happened that our paths crossed. Our lines of energy crossed, and it happened to me, but it could have been anyone. I wasn't the target victim. I wasn't the victim of the occasion. So if I can embrace that idea that whatever happened, like if you're a veteran of a war, the other country didn't decide, I'm going to go to war just to get Richard Tierney. Let's have this battle and have just Richard Tierney. It happened to a group of people from your country in a battle, but it wasn't aimed at you. You weren't the victim of it. You weren't the target of it. You happened to suffer it, but it wasn't about you. We can learn to see that the other person was the problem. It wasn't the case that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or it was my own fault, or I attracted the trauma to me. Nothing. I was completely not responsible for any part of it. Someone else's behavior happened in my company, and I am not the victim. And if we can get that idea that no matter what happens in our life today, so you lose your job, your boyfriend leaves you, your girlfriend leaves you, your wife leaves you, your husband leaves you, you lose friendship or something, you lose your job. It's not about you. It's not a case they're out to get you. They're looking after their best interests. They're not out to get you. They're looking after their best interest. And their best interest means not having you in their life. For whatever reason, it's not about you. It's about them taking care of their best interest. So we have to realize, today I'm not a victim. Whatever happens, I am not a victim. And relate that to every part of your life. And just accept that whatever happens in my life today, I'm not a victim. If I'm planning to go and play golf today with my friends, and suddenly it pours out of the heavens and it rains so hard we can't play golf, I can't suddenly think, oh, God's made it rain so I can't play golf. Shit happens. Excuse my French, but shit happens. It's not about me. It's not in case everyone's out to get me, Richard Tierney. Even though it affects loads of other people, they're out to get me. I'm not a victim. It happened to everybody. It happened to everybody. If the world ends, it didn't end just for Richard. It ends just for everybody. It's just a new way of looking at things, becoming responsible and becoming our own therapist, to say that, okay, I am not a victim. It's not about me. I am the target. And that's your first step. The second step is to understand you're never alone. Whether you come onto one of these podcast platforms, you find Ashley's podcast, and you listen to Ashley's podcast, and maybe you listen to my words and I offer you hope. That's a higher power. Maybe it's your dog. For me, my wife has a little Chihuahua dog. I'm the one who gets to walk him every day. And if my head is up my ass, and I go for a walk, my dog is getting an earful of everything's going on for me. I'll be talking at this dog. I'll be giving him all my grief. I'll walk around the village, come back. He's the dog. He doesn't get anything. But giving it to someone or something, and I feel release for it. So I'll give it to a dog, I'll give it to a bush, I'll give it to a tree. We're not alone. We always have someone or something we can. If you're having a bad day, go and have an ice cream, and you feel better for it. And you come, listen, ice cream is a higher power for me. Now, I won't eat so much ice cream, I'll become overweight or anything. But I know now if I'm feeling bad, I can go to church and pray, or I can have an ice cream. There's always something I can do to get out of myself. Talk to somebody, go to confession, talk to your priest or pastor. All I want you to do is listen to me, Father. Don't give me any advice, any suggestions. Just listen to me. And he says there, yes. And you talk at him, you vent at him, and then you walk away and you feel better for it. And he kind of goes, God help that poor soul. And but you vented. I mean, you're at an airport and you're going crazy, and you see a stranger, and maybe he doesn't speak in English. You go over and say, you kind of go, I talk, and he goes, and you just spew this crap out of him. And he doesn't speak any English, doesn't understand a word you're saying. And you spew it at him, and he goes, smiling and nodding, this kind of stuff. Doesn't know you're using every colourful language in the world, but you're effing and blind and whatever. At the end of it, he gets up and walks away. You get up and walk away, and it's like, so we're never alone. And then the third part of this, give God a second chance. I say this to those people who haven't got a faith, the sinners out there, the tax collectors. Like Jesus said, the people who need to be saved. You have nothing to lose giving God a second chance. So the prayer I share with my clients is I say, just try this. What we need to understand is God hears all our prayers all day long. And the prayers aren't what we learned in school, or we learned in church, or we learned at home. They're other people's prayers. They're powerful prayers, but they're powerful for them. So the St. Francis prayer or the Lord's Prayer are wonderfully powerful prayers, but they're written by somebody else, and they're very effective for them. We're just repeating somebody else's prayer, but they're not our prayer. Now, we can take the Lord's Prayer and we can mold it to be our prayer. So I do a thing where I say, Our Father, the Father of my wife, Bo, of my mother-in-law, Ning, of my children, Queen and Kevin, of Ashley, and of myself, who art in heaven, who's in my subconscious mind, in my imaginations, in my thoughts and feelings. I want you to manifest into my reality of my actions and my words and my deeds. And you say your name is I am, I would choose not to attach to the I am in me anything negative. So I would choose to be happy, joyous, and free. I am happy, I am joyous, I am free. I would try not to say I am depressed, or I am suicidal, or I am hateful, or I would choose to be as happy and joyful. I am love. Joseph Murphy says, the great meditation is I am love, I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable. Which is basically saying I am God, I am God, I am God, I am God. Like, it's just a really powerful way of saying God's name in the 4 different versions of love. And just meditate on that for half an hour, and everything changes. You don't know how to. So you find out that our prayers are our self-talk, the things we say to ourselves when we think no one's listening. They're our prayers. So if you have this brave face on and you're like, I'm Ashley, I'm running a podcast, and I look like I'm really happy. When I'm at my home, I'm going, I hate my life, I hate my boyfriend, I hate my job, I hate this house, I hate that fucking fish tank, I hate fish, I'm allergic to fish, I hate this life, I don't like living this life, I don't like this town, I don't like this city, I don't like my neighbors. If this is what we're saying, there are prayers. And because God gave us a book of instructions in free will, he expects us that whatever we ask for, that's what we truly want. So he doesn't do feelings. So if you're saying, I hate my life, he's assuming, oh, well, Ashley hates her life, and that's what she wants, to feel good and happy. So I give her 10 expressions of reasons why she'd hate her life. And suddenly you find everything goes wrong in 10 different ways, and you don't know what's going on. And you come out, I can't stand this, no one likes me. And suddenly you've got 10 expressions of people not liking you. You're kind of going, what's going on here? Why does everyone not like me? And this is what we're asking God to give us. And because he loves us unconditionally, he'll give us what we ask for. So we have to learn to change our prayers into saying, I am happy, I am joyous, I am free, I am loved, I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable, I am abundant, I am a rich millionaire, I am a rich billionaire, I am prosperous, I am opulent. We have to learn to change our prayers into being what we want. And we say it enough, God will say, oh, he really wants that, I'll give that to him. Suddenly you win the lottery, or you get a job, or you get a pay rise from nowhere. You're going to go, how did that happen? So if he said no, it's my prayers. So we have to learn to pray properly. So if I'm working with what we call sinners, people who haven't got the faith, I say, try this prayer. Okay, and all you say is, Lord God, Richard says that you will give me whatever I want for a 24-hour period. So right now I'm going to ask you for the next 10 minutes here, and ask you, Richard, that I can have peace of mind. Fill me with hope and peace of mind. Remove the voices from my head, get them to be quiet, take out my demons, and give me peace for the next 10 minutes. So just when I'm sitting here with Ashley and Richard, I can feel a sense of peace. I cast out my demons, I give them to you now. I see a host of angels coming down, taking these demons from me. And this moment, I feel a complete release of all my demons, of all the voices in my head. They're gone for the next 10 minutes. They're not allowed back. I breathe in through my nose. I release these demons. That's it. And when you allow my words to sink into your psyche, or you say this yourself, you will find you've got 10 minutes of peace of mind. And then you're going to go, that's 10 minutes. I'll try that for 8 hours of sleep tonight. And I'll try that for an hour now when I'm going to commute to work tomorrow. And I'm going on a date. I'll try that for my 40-minute date, or I'll try that for my 1-hour interview. And just try. Give God a second chance. You've nothing to lose. If it turns out he doesn't hear you, he doesn't listen to your prayers, then you'll know he's not there. But if you give him this opportunity to answer your prayer, and you actually say to him, give me 30 minutes of peace of mind right now in the company of Ashley and Richard. Remove the voices from my head, and let me just hear what Richard and Ashley are saying, that I can be filled with hope. Take these voices from me now. Thank you, Lord. I'm free. And the time you watch, say, okay, no, it's 8:34. I've got to 9:04 to be free. I'm going to sit back now, breathing in. And only breathe into your nose. Never breathe into your mouth. When you breathe into your mouth, we aggravate anxiety and panic. So breathe into your nose only. And if you can, throw a smile in there in that half an hour. Help him out. Don't let him do all the work himself. They say fate without works is dead. So he's doing the face, giving you freedom for half an hour. Smile. Breathe into your nose.
Wow.
And see what happens.
Wow. You know what I find a little nugget that you said was to give a God, to give a God. Oh my gosh. God is going to be so upset, but that I said it that way, to give God a second chance, because he provides everything. He gives everything. All we have to do is say yes. So give God a second chance. You have nothing to lose. In this life, you have nothing to lose right now. He has given you a moment to be able to go back to him, which I find profound.
But if you think about it, right now, if you're an atheist or an unbeliever, and your life is shit, and it really is. I mean, I know so many people who are unbelievers, and life is hard. This isn't an easy life. You look at what's going on around the world, all the different countries, and what's happening between countries, and you name it, and how neighbors are treating neighbors, and this wokeism thing. I'm trying not to get involved in this. I'm trying to leave it to the Lord to decide at the end what he's going to do, because if I get involved in this, it's like Jesus practiced self-restraint, and we have to practice self-restraint. As much as I want to go around there and tell them all to shove their wokeism, I really have to just stand back and look after my space, which is my wife and my children, my clients, meeting people like Ashley, and doing a good podcast and carrying a message of hope for their clients. But that's really it. There's 8 billion people in the world. Let the other 7,999,999,000 take care of the world. I just focus on being the best version of me I can each day. But if I'm an unbeliever or an atheist, then I say to people I work with, if you're an atheist or an unbeliever and your families know you as an atheist and unbeliever, stay that way in public. But go to your bedroom, lock the door, close the curtains, climb into the wardrobe and say, God, I'm going to give you a second chance. Just between you and me, I don't want my family to know about this or my friends to know about this, but I'm going to give you a chance to take my demons off me for the next 8 hours, just for a peaceful night's sleep. So I'm going to write down all of these out. I'm going to call them out, so I'm taking them out of my mind. When we can write on paper, we're taking it from my mind, and we can speak it verbally to a mirror or to a window or something, or to a plant. This is my list of all the shit in my life. I'm giving it to you now. But we say, God, I'm giving it to you. For Christians, we believe God created everything in 7 days, the whole world, everything, the universe, everything. And if you think he can't take your shit off you for 8 hours, that isn't even a drop in the ocean. That isn't even a minute particle to a drop in the ocean. That's like is insignificant ask. It's no trouble to him whatsoever. He can do it in the splittest of a second, the minutest splittest of any second. He can do that. So you get a pen and paper and you write out all your anger, even at him. I'm angry at you, God, because who hurt me was a priest or a power, whatever, or a parent who used you as a weapon. Whatever it is, you write down on a sheet of paper all your anger and resentment, all your frustration and fear and doubt and insecurity, self-loathing, all of it. And then when you've written it all down, you read it aloud and say, I'm giving this to you. These are all my demons. And the voices in my head, which I know are not from you, the voices in my head are belonging to this fallen world. They're the servants of Satan, and their job is to keep you disconnected from you. I ask you to cast those voices out for the next 8 hours so I can sleep peacefully. And all of my demons are given to you now on this sheet. I'm calling out to you and give it to you. And when you give it to him, take that sheet of paper, tear it up, flush down the toilet. And then wash your face, brush your teeth, go into your bed, put your head on the pillow, put a gentle smile on your face, close your eyes, and I promise you wake up 8 hours later. 8 hours later, thinking, what happened? It really is that easy. If you never go to a church or join a denomination or a man-made religion in your life, that's okay. God wants a personal, intimate relationship with you. If you end up having a relationship with Him in your wardrobe for the next 40 years of your life, and outside in the public, you pretend you're an atheist and agnostic to fit with your family, that's okay. He wants a personal, intimate relationship with you. That's all He wants. That's the only charge. The only cost for this is you to commit to a personal, intimate relationship with Him.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. I'm
Thank you.
writing down little nuggets. I'm writing down nuggets over here. If you see my head is down, that's because I'm writing something down. I
I
mean,
think that's a compliment.
I mean, I wrote down like He made the world in 7 days. To take away your pain is minute, and that's a true statement. That is a very true statement. If God can be able to create the universe, create the world in 7 days,
Galaxies.
then why can He not take away your pain? And that also is a way of saying that He cares. Like pain to us is big, and part of it is because when we deal with trauma, especially with mental health, there are times in my experience where your world really does become small. Like it's as if you're in a world but you're not in it. It's just like a complete opposite direction. It almost feels like you're another planet
Yeah.
that is within a
But
planet. And
it's that,
so when you walk around thinking that there's nothing that can't change is not only sad, but it's also you're diminishing what God can do.
sure. We've been conditioned to be that way. The whole world is set up. This is the most thriving industry out there. It's like it's a huge industry. There's something like 1 billion cases of people with mental disorders, and there's no case of any mental disorder ever been cured because it's not the reason. It's not the core problem. The problem is what happened in the past. They can't treat disorders as the problem because it's not the problem. So we're going to have mental disorders forever unless we teach clients to heal themselves. So I had two therapists in my lifetime, early on in my youth, in my early 20s. They're the most beautiful, profound, empathetic people, absolutely glorious, and they dedicated their lives to helping suffering, mental illness, whatever you want to call it, mental disorder, people with suffer trauma and were expressing depression and PTSD like myself, and they gave of themselves day and there. I mean, back in Ireland, the wages for someone in the industry was pretty poor, but you were given long hours and you're giving all of your energy to and your spirit trying to help people. But no matter what they did, I knew deep down they couldn't help me. I mean, it was a great place to go for an hour every week and to be able to bitch and moan about my family, whatever. And they'd hear me and I'd feel like I was heard. And they would try to give me advice and suggestions. But in the end of the day, it was a case of I would go in, I'd medicate for the rest of the week. To survive the rest of the week, I'd medicate. So I got back to another hour of this fantastic. I started thinking, I wish she was my mother. I wish he was my father. It was kind of crazy because we're being heard, we have a voice. And it got to a stage where I was rejecting my family of origin and my friends, and suddenly my whole life was this therapy, and these were I knew I wouldn't be my parents. And we see it so much, and therapists firing or dropping clients because becoming too attached and we're really stuck in the space where we've been conditioned to depend as a ward of the state on the state or on that whole thing and not live our own lives. But God tells us we are meant to live in the I am, in the moment. We're meant to walk around with Christ in our souls and to be Christian and loving to each other. But we have to forgive our past. A big part of the God thing, and this is the beauty of the God thing. Again, atheist agnostics. There's a piece in the Bible. I'd love you to read it yourself. I hate telling this to newcomers, to unbelievers and atheists, because it's almost like if you read this yourself, it'll blow your mind. Absolutely blow your mind. So here's what it is. God says that vengeance is His. Okay, this means that if you suffered a trauma of some kind and you're on a vengeance road in your life, you're going to get vengeance for this person. So let's imagine you're committed to getting vengeance and justice, and eventually, after maybe 10 or 20 years, you get this person to go to court, and you get them in the court in front of people, and everyone finds out what they did to you, and because the prisons are full with real criminals and there's no space, he gets a slap in the wrist and let out after 6 months. That's your vengeance paid, and you don't get him. God doesn't seek vengeance on him because you've seek vengeance yourself. So for all the pain and hurt you've suffered, he's getting a slap in the wrist and 6 months probation. Are you going to be okay with that vengeance? Is that going to equate to the pain you suffered? But here's the thing: if you now today say, okay, God, I can't do this. This is too much for me. I'm going to forgive him, not to his face, because that would be a stupid thing to do. That would just empower him to hurt me even more. So to you, Lord, I'm going to forgive him, and I'm going to give him to you, and I'm going to wish for him everything I want in my life. I want to wish for him. And in that moment, God takes up the mantle of vengeance. Now he can go on and have this magnificent life on this earth. You might think, God, look, he's got away with so much, and he's living this big 5-star hotel, and big house, and he's got a big car, and great life, and he's traveling, and he's got loads of money, whatever. But when he meets his maker, he's going to face the wrath of God. He's going to burn the fires of hell for all eternity. Now, I'm 64 years of age, and I look back and the last 64 years went in an instant. I can't. It wasn't like I had this 64 glorious years. I can remember each one of them. Some of them went in a blur. Some of them went a blur to forget about. But they've gone so fast. And 64 years can go so fast. But eternity can last forever. I think I'd prefer to see him getting eternity than a slap in the wrist and a 6-month probation. That's the way I see it. I might be selfish about this. I want this person who abused me at the age of 12 to suffer the horrors of hell forever. That's as far as I'm concerned. So I just forgave this person to God. I forgive this person. I named him. I forgive him completely. And I ask you to give him everything he wants on this earth. Give him the most splendid life here on this earth. The other things I want for myself, would you give it to him? I forgive him completely in your eyes. I let go of this. And I'm going to forgive him every single day and pray for him every single day until he's gone from my mind, so he no longer triggers me. So if I see him around or I hear any noise, I'm not triggered. And when I'm no longer triggered, I know you've taken him from me. And in that moment, I know that poor fecker is going to suffer hell for all eternity. And there's no way back from it. And it's also not just himself, but 3 generations of his. The Bible says 3 generations of his is going to suffer along with him. So it's like, I'm covered on all fronts. So.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness, nuggets. My mind is like, where should I go next? But it's almost with the example of the person going to court and forgiving them. And it's a hard lesson that forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. But it also is another way to think of it is you're releasing the pain. Forgiveness is all about releasing the pain and that trauma. And that's all it does. And that person, whether they're sorry for what they did to you or not, it no longer gives them power over you.
Definitely. But also it's then about between them and God. So if they feel regret for what they did, it's up to them then to make it right some way with God. So they suddenly give up their life and become a missionary or whatever. It might instigate them to becoming like a Paul. Like in the Bible, Paul is hunted down Christians and true stone and all the kind of stuff, stoning and everything. He's very involved in hunting down Christians. And then Christ said to him, "What are you doing to my people?" And he went, "Oh my God, I'm sorry." And suddenly he changed his tune. But he had hurt so many Christians before that, and suddenly became the greatest apostle ever. It may be that the person that abused you forgive them so much that it rubs off on them, and then they feel the horror of what they've done to you. And suddenly they become like Paul, and they suddenly go on to achieve greatness for Jesus. Wait, Pastor, I could forgive. How is it? I'm the one thing I'm going to achieve greatness, and this fecker is achieving more than me. Like it's like God might have put you and I on this path that we forgive somebody, and the person we forgive goes on to create a cure for cancer or AIDS. And if we hadn't forgiven them, they wouldn't have created a cure for cancer or AIDS. Now, no one will know that we did this. No one will give us the accolades for our part in this. But God would have had a plan 7,000 years ago that 2 people were going to be born, one in America and one in Ireland, one called Ashley and one called Richard. They're going to be on a podcast together in the year 2025. And between them, they're going to forgive somebody, or you're going to forgive 2 people. And those 2 people are going to create a cure for cancer or AIDS. Or one of their descendants in 3 generations creates a cure for cancer or AIDS. And no one knows that it was Ashley and Richard and Ashley's audience that played their part in this. But God knows. He planned his way ahead. And we're oblivious to his plan. But somewhere down the road, someone creates a cure for cancer or AIDS. And it happened because you and I met here today. And it
Wow.
wasn't our plan to meet here today. We, by chance, we found each other on a podcast platform and we agreed to meet. But it wasn't like we set out, okay, I'm going to find Ashley and ask her, can I go on her podcast? Or you're going to find me and when I speak on your podcast. God planned everything that we'd meet today to carry the message. And maybe it's one of your audience will get hope from this and they'll go on to get married and start a life and have children. And one of their descendants will create a cure for cancer rates.
Yeah.
Or one of your children or whatever, or one of your boyfriend's family, they'll go on to, because of this podcast, they'll create a cure for cancer rates. We'll never get the accolades for it. But again, we don't need them because God will know. And that's like we found our purpose. Without even knowing we've done our purpose, we've done our purpose. Like it's that wonderful. And I think we all have a purpose, and having God in your life is an easier way of finding a purpose than trying to do it on your own.
Yeah.
So give him a second chance. Go on.
No, I think Paul is a great way to end. Paul, the fact that you use Paul as an example is a great way to end this conversation because Paul committed genocide. Like he did some serious crimes that, in our opinion, he deserved the death penalty in some people's eyes. But the fact that God chose love and forgiveness, I mean, Paul is considered the writer of more than half of the New Testament. And here we are today in 2025. I don't think he thought he probably didn't think letters would last this long, but here we are in 2025.
Gentiles really
Right?
shouting about it. Yeah.
Reciting a man who essentially committed genocide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So God had a plan for it. It wasn't, I had this plan this morning to talk about Paul or whatever. You had the plan this morning. God chose that we would carry a message of hope to your listeners. That's all this was.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It is wonderful. Richard, I just want to thank you for joining me today. Your two books, you said they're on Amazon, correct? How to Heal Any Past Trauma and Your Trauma Recovery.
Trauma Recovery Anonymous. It's a 12-step program.
Yeah,
it's available on Amazon and basically on every other platform. But the healing event is only available on Amazon.
Okay. All right. That's
and beautiful. In print and digital.
Okay, nice. So anyway, there is no excuse. You can have it in paper, you can have it in digital. Richard put it together for you to be able to move on. Isn't that God?
My head's swelling out here. My head is going so big now. It's all about me. But I better watch that.
Oh, but no, I mean, to be able to, your story is very powerful, and to be able to recover from that. And not only just that, because there's one thing to recover, and then there's one thing to be healed to the point where you are able to talk about your testimony and to be able to take the time to create a plan that was approved, okay, by AA, so others can be able to heal from that is extraordinary.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. Richard, I hope we're going to have these conversations again.
I look forward to it. It was really a great pleasure. Thank you very much, Ashley. It was wonderful. And you put your light on your fish tank. I love
it's a timer. Okay. It's a timer. Don't.
It's fabulous. Great picture.
Right. It's time for the fish to wake up and start their day.
Ashley, thank you very much. Really enjoyed it. It was super. And your audience, thank you for listening to me. I hope I've offered you some glimmer of hope.
Yes.
Just give God a second chance.
Yes.
And if you're talking to an unbeliever, it's just simple. Say, give God a second chance. There's no catch.
Yeah, beautiful.